Today, we'll be talking about why you sometimes see locomotives operating in reverse, often referred to as leading long hood forward. Locomotives are bidirectional, meaning they can operate either way. This mostly occurs on local or short distance trains. Local or short haul trains frequently have long hood forward leaders because they typically don't have anywhere to Y the power to face the forward direction. A Y is a triangular shaped arrangement of tracks that allow crews to change the direction of their train, but these are not always available on shorter routes, making it more practical to operate in the long hood forward configuration. Although it's somewhat rare, you might occasionally see large long haul trains with the lead engine facing long hood forward. This usually happens in extreme circumstances, such as when the leading locomotive on a train breaks down and they need another locomotive to finish the job. One thing to consider is the very limited visibility on modern engines when operating long hood forward. Long haul engines are typically longer and often have flared radiators, which can significantly impact the crew's visibility. This can make it more challenging for engineers to see signals and track conditions, especially in complex rail yards or on busy main lines. Historically, many older locomotives, especially those built in the mid 20th century, were designed to operate long hood forward as a standard practice. This was partly for safety reasons, as the long hood provided additional protection for the crew in the event of a collision. However, as locomotive designs evolved and safety standards improved, the practice became less common. Speaking of Ying a train, in St. Louis we caught this Amtrak train with private coaches being shoved out to turn the train around. It's a great example of how railroads manage train direction when they have the necessary infrastructure. Now let's move on to our noteworthy catches from this past week. Over at Tower 26, we caught KCSM number 4089 smoking it up. This is an EMD SD 70 Ace built in 2007. As you may know from our last video, Canadian Pacific painted 5 EMD SD-70 ACUs to honor both the Canadian and US militaries. We caught CP-7023, which wears a two-tone gray paint scheme designed after the livery applied to Canadian and American fighter jets, which is pretty cool to see. In St. Louis, we caught a fantastic lash up. We see CN 2869 leading the Canadian National Wisconsin Heritage Unit number 3069, as well as CN number 3225, which celebrates 100 years of CN's history. Over at Tower 26, we caught this BNSF manifest train with PRLX 1507 in tow, which is an EMD SW 1500. Interestingly, 1507 started its life on the Terminal Railroad Association in St. Louis in November of 1969. Over in Blue Island, we see Metra's new EMD SD 70 Mac number 516 on freight duty with Iowa Interstate number 506. Here is one of my favorite clips in this rail recap. It's BNSF number 3185, which is an EMD GP50 built in April of 1981. It's pretty easy to tell what the ancestry is on this unit, which is, of course, Santa Fe. Back over in St. Louis, we caught another heritage unit. This time it's UP 1996, which, as many of you know, is UP's Southern Pacific Heritage Unit. This EMD SD 70 AC was built in August of 2006. And that wraps up today's recap. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button and share it with your fellow rail enthusiasts. Thanks for joining us on Live Trains. Until next time, cheers.